too much division in this country through bad movies and dumb games. These idiots are bringing us together. PTR Radio is what America needs.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to a holiday edition of PTR Radio here on the fabulous interweb. We hope everybody is getting ready for their favorite holiday, whether it's, I guess Hanukkah is already underway. The Christmas is happening. The winter solstice is upon us. Krampus is ready to take flight as well, I guess, over Europe and punish all the bad boys and girls. And there's other holidays in there. I'm not sure what they are, but we have all kinds of wintry holidays upon us.
The most important being Festivus.
Yes, we do have that too. We have all kinds. So, we are live today on a Tuesday because Colin was busy spreading illness throughout the Disney Kingdom, as it turns out.
Yes.
Colin if there's an outbreak, Colin's patient zero.
Yeah, the good thing is I think I brought it from Springfield to Orlando, so at least I didn't bring it from Orlando back here.
Yeah, that is opposite the way it normally travels, so that's good. For once,
when you sit in the ER for 9 hours, I guess it's kind of difficult not to get COVID.
Hospitals are where people get sick the most. That is what I've come to determine. That's just why I don't go. I don't believe in hospitals. I read it on the internet. So, everybody in the hospital is sick.
I tried not to go to the hospital, but urgent care said, we don't have a CT scanner.
Oh, wow.
So you have to go to the ER.
They have one. It's just not for you. There's not too many healthy people sitting in hospitals. That's a fact.
Unless they work there.
Well, even then, I think those people have something wrong with them mentally.
Well,
so, they want to be around sick people all the time. Who wants to be around sick people? Only people who are sick in the head.
Yeah. But, as I told the other two, COVID is quite the diet plan. I've lost 32 pounds because I didn't realize I had COVID, didn't realize I had no appetite, so I just was not eating.
Well, it reminds me of a...
Wait.
Yes.
So, didn't realize you didn't have an appetite, so you weren't eating... I'm confused by this. Because even if I'm not hungry, I'll say, I know I have to eat something.
No,
so
I ate. I just didn't, I would do stuff I just didn't feel very hungry. So I didn't eat all the food that I would usually eat. And then I took the food, and then I took and I would get the leftovers. I would take it back to my room. And then I'd be like, I have these leftovers, so I'm not going to bother going out and getting some supper because I'm just going to eat these leftovers. And then 2 days later, you realize I seem to have multiple days of leftovers in my refrigerator in my room. So I was eating, but only because I already had reservations in restaurants that I already had set 2 months in advance. So I was eating, just, not as much as I would usually.
He wasn't vacation eating.
So basically
eating.
you're kind of, so my off the cuff comment was so one of the stories that Shaggy wants to talk about is a new weight loss medication, and I'm pretty sure the medication is cheaper than going to Disney, paying for all of those meals with COVID so that you don't.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find some humor in this.
Yeah.
You would think that probably is not the case.
So, and this came up. So Mike's right. So I put an article on the sheet because, well, I went to the doctor, and the doctor said no more monkeys jumping on the bed. Obviously, I mean that's the first thing out of his mouth as soon as I walk in. But no, I go there because there's an issue with my blood pressure. For some reason, they think that that bottom number that you read should be less than 100. I mean, I don't know what they mean. I don't know what they're angry about. I'm going for a high score, and I'm doing pretty good. But they seem to be upset about that for some reason. And so after a couple months of going for a high score, they have me come in, and he goes, I'm actually not worried so much about the number. I'm worried about what's causing the number. And I'm like, well, at least he's not looking at the symptoms. He's more looking at the root cause. And then he goes, maybe you need to lose some weight. And I go, well, I know I need to lose some weight. There's no maybe about that. I'm a big fat guy. I said, that's a given. And he goes, well, how about a diet? And I said, okay, yeah, that's really easy in December. Cookie and pie and big food season. That's not the easiest thing to do. And then he said, well, if we can't get it under control, because we've been trying for years, he goes, well, maybe we can switch out some of your medication, because also borderline diabetic, and more than borderline at this point. He goes, they've got a new thing where it's a once a week injection that you can put into your stomach, and it takes the place of your existing pill, but it's also been shown to be an appetite suppressant. And I'm like, in theory, that sounds fine. It sounds like a good idea. If it weren't for that injection part, you get that down to a pill, I'm good with it. I'm great with it. In fact, you get that down to a pill, and I think you've got a golden item. Okay, I will invest money behind that. You put out a pill that not only will reduce your blood, your diabetes, your sugar, your A1C, but will also curb appetite, and actually has studies that says that it works, and people lose weight in a pill. I'll put money behind that. All right, injecting into your stomach once a week. Boy, that's a hard barrier. It's a hard barrier to get through.
It really isn't.
Well, it is for people who haven't done it. I'm not afraid of needles.
It is not a problem.
I'm not afraid of needles by any stretch of the imagination, because I have, I gave blood so that I could get over my fear of needles. When somebody else is sticking me with the needle, it is a little bit different to stick yourself with a needle every day. But
you don't have to do that.
Well, the ones that he was talking about, you do, and the ones in this article actually says that it is a once weekly injection.
Yes, but what that involves? Do you know what that actually involves?
I don't know, but it's not a hypo spray from Star Trek. I can tell you that.
Yeah. Okay, so imagine pen.
Yes.
Okay. Imagine stomach.
Mm-hmm.
Put pen on stomach. Click button, and it goes. And it's done. It does the entire process of pushing the needle in and pushing the plunger all by itself.
Well, I'd have to see. I'd have to see, because that's not what I'm used to. Because I got friends that have MS. That's not they have to syringe
Yes, that's what you're expecting.
Heroin-y, that one.
Yes. So these are.
So anyway, so that's what I'm looking at, and he said, in 6 months we'll look at that if we can't get it under control. And so I'm like, I don't know. That is an option. It is an option. It's on the table. It's on the table more so than surgery is on the table, because surgery, is one of those other things which has been on the table before, But then we cleaned off the table and said, no, we don't. I don't think we necessarily want that on the table anymore. Because that's a little bit more permanent and a little bit more difficult to deal with long term.
Mm-hmm.
So and plus at this point, I've had people that either it didn't stick or they had complications or whatever. So, but yeah, I mean, reading this article where they talked about retatrutide, they're talking about where it's, it has these benefits of working on 3 different aspects of sugar and glucose within the body, talking about it, within 48 weeks, losing 24% of your body weight, which would be cool to lose, a large portion in a year. That for some people, that would be a major, major accomplishment. I know for me personally, it would be, as opposed to some of the other ones where they're talking about, a 20% reduction in 72 weeks, so almost twice as long for a little bit less. And I mean, let's face it, America's fat. America is full of fat people. And so anything we can do to get less fat, even if it means through chemistry, would not necessarily be a bad thing. Otherwise, we're all going to end up in floating chairs on a spaceship waiting for a robot with a flower, and that's how life is going to be. And there's our obligatory Wall-E reference. But, I don't know, Mike, what do you think?
Well,
because you're not nearly as festively jolly as myself. So as a skinny person, as a relative skinny person, what's your thoughts on it?
So let's be clear about this. All right. This is not technically a weight loss drug. It is a diabetes medication that has the side effect of losing weight. It's for type 2 diabetics. So if you are not a type 2 diabetic, then you should not be considering this. Now, that being said, I don't know if and I'm just saying it because I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know if there's a correlation between weight and type 2 diabetes. I think there might be, but just because you are overweight does not mean you are diabetic. Is that a fair statement?
I think it's fair. I think that you have a higher likelihood, but it's not necessarily a direct correlation.
Okay. But if you are going to, there's a very good chance. No, it's I think there's a very high correlation, because very often people who get diagnosed diabetic and do go on a crash diet, then their sugar levels go back to normal. So, because of that correlation, it's a pretty good correlation.
Okay.
Now, the way this stuff works is what it's doing is it's a hormone that makes the cells go ahead and release the sugar, and the effect of that is to actually slow down how quickly the stomach empties. So because the stomach is emptying more slowly, that just makes you feel full longer. So that's why that's the reason why it's causing this weight loss.
According to the Cleveland Clinic of Medicine, an obese person is about 6 times more likely to develop type 2 diabetes than those at a healthy weight.
Okay. So the next thing that's worth noting for the listeners here is the drug you're talking about, retatrutide, is essentially the next evolution of semaglutide, which is also known as Ozempic or Rybelsus.
Mm-hmm.
So you've seen the commercials for those.
Yeah.
Those, not talking about after insurance, those cost $1,200 a month. So, Colin, you are correct. Disney is cheaper.
Yeah.
So go to Disney. Don't wear a mask. Get COVID.
The actual
cheaper.
weight loss version of that, the one that's not designed for just type 2 diabetics. There's a weight loss version of semaglutide, which is Wegovy. And it costs $1,349.02 per month.
Okay.
So that is but Ozempic and those are generally covered by most insurance and Medicare plans.
If
only
you're type 2
after
diabetic.
steps.
Yes.
It's very annoying.
Yeah.
So you have to take possibly the stuff you're already on, Shaggy. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
There's some stuff you're supposed to take first, which is stuff that I'm not interested in taking because it has side effects that go right against everything that would be bad for me. I actually got Trulicity prescribed to me, and it was denied by so I'm actually on Trulicity. So that's a Trulicity injector. So I said, "There's the button." So you just
don't use one up. Just
oh, this one's already already
okay.
used. So after it's used, the needle gets pulled back. So this is, but the needle's so thin you don't feel anything. No, I'm actually, the reason I bring this up is I'm actually having problems right now with. I've actually switched insurance companies twice over a couple months because I changed employer, and then the employer changed insurance. So I was already approved to bypass the steps by the other 2 insurance companies, and my current insurance company's trying to nay me. So
yeah.
So anyway, I gotta get some more labs done tomorrow to prove that this stuff is actually working, and then state law will say they have to let me have it. So.
Yeah, I remember when my dad had lap band surgery. And well, anybody who's seen my dad knows that it didn't stick. But I remember that he had to go through a bunch of steps before insurance could cover it because, insurance is so great. It's wonderful. There's but he actually had to go through hypnosis therapy before they would approve the stupid thing. So they put more faith in hypnosis than medical treatment, than real medicine. So the insurance company wanted him to do that. And all this other stuff, all the hoops that we have to go through insurance, and it's just it's kind of ridiculous. I think we could do a whole segment if we asked people for what's the dumbest thing insurance made you go through to get coverage, to get something done. Because I think insurance companies just try to make things as difficult as possible sometimes. But yeah, it's pretty sad.
So I have a story that I want to get through.
Yeah.
Well, I can still talk. Just a second. I actually want to get something shared here. So, so I was at Disney, and one of the things that I did was on Thursday last day at Disney. Friday was checkout day, so no time for parks that day. But that was the first day that Neil Patrick Harris was doing the narration for the Candlelight Processional at Epcot. So for anybody who isn't familiar with that, the Candlelight Processional is a tradition at both Disney World and Disneyland. It is a full-on pageant. This is not a halfway there, inclusive holidays for everybody thing. This is a full-on, the entire story of Bethlehem from beginning to end, with carols in between. Okay, so this is the Candlelight Procession. But every Candlelight Processional has a different celebrity narrator who's the one who's actually reading the story from the Bible. For 3 days, it was Neil Patrick Harris. Neil Patrick Harris has been doing this for years. It's one of his absolute favorite things to do. And this particular year, for the last couple years, he actually missed because of COVID. So this was his first year back. So, but one of the things Disney does, because Disney likes our money, is they do these things called Candlelight Processional dining packages. So the Candlelight Processional itself is free. I mean, if you have a ticket to be at Epcot. But the line to get some of the seating can be extremely long. People will sit there for hours. So what they do is they do these Candlelight Processional dining packages where you pay a set amount of money and you eat at that particular restaurant, and each restaurant will have a different cost. You get a appetizer, you get an entree, you get a dessert, and you get a drink, a non-alcoholic drink. So I had to choose. There's only like two things I could choose between, and I decided to just go ahead and go with the most expensive one because I figured, well, why not? I'm already spending too much money as it is. I might as well spend a slightly more and go to the more expensive restaurant that I would never go to, except because of this. So that's the Le Cellier, which is the steak restaurant at Canada in Epcot. So I go there and I look at the menu, and I, of course, look at the menu and say, okay, I'm spending $100 today. It doesn't matter what I order. It's going to be $100. So I, of course, should buy the most expensive things that I can get. This just makes sense. Do you two agree that this makes sense, that you should order expensive stuff?
Well, I mean, obviously, if I had your money, I'd always buy expensive stuff. You know, I mean, I have my money though, so I'm like, where's the mac and cheese? You know, where's the chicken tenders?
Is my opinion valid? Does this invalidate any opinion of spending? I mean, Keystone Light, $17 for a 30-pack. Am I on vacation though? I'm with Colin. If I'm on vacation, I don't want to worry about money. I want to get what I get.
Yeah.
But I was choosing between $65 and $100. So I was like, okay, it's going to cost me an extra $35 to go to the more expensive place that has better food than, I think, because the other place was Rose and Crown, which was the English pub. Mm-hmm. So I probably would have just like ended up with fish and chips.
Yeah.
For $65. Anyway. So here's the menu. Here's the menu for Le Cellier.
So
you
got the prime, either the ribeye steak USDA prime or the New York strip, obviously, because that's what you get.
Oh, that's the entrees, but look at the appetizers. So I picked the citrus seafood medley for $21.
Okay. Oh, you didn't pick the plant-based chorizo meatballs?
No. Although that was $18, so that's doable at least.
Or the heirloom,
and there's the
heirloom beets and goat cheese.
So I, of course, picked, well, okay, fine, I'll get the $62 famous filet mignon. And he said, how do you want it cooked? And I'm like, I usually like my beef mooing, but I'm like, this is a $62 steak. I'm going to ask the waiter what the chef suggests. And he said that the chef suggests medium rare. And I'm like, great, medium rare it is. Mm-hmm. Next to me, sit down, this mother and daughter. Now, just to set the ages correctly, I think the daughter was like college age. Okay. So it turns out they're on the same dining package I am on. So waiter says, okay, what do you want to order? They order the cheese soup, the $13 cheapest appetizer they have, cheese soup. Mm-hmm. And then the mother says, so if I ask for the steak to be medium well, what would that mean? And the waiter says, that means in the center of the steak, you would still see a slight bit of red. And she goes, okay, so I need it well done. Oh, I forgot. I should tell you this. So the ribeye steak and the New York strip steak, those are both 16-ounce steaks.
Okay, but
The
when
filet mignon is a 7.
When she said she wanted something medium well, the chef died a little on the inside.
Well, yeah, but then she decided she wanted well done.
Oh, and then he just killed himself.
So he orders the ribeye steak well done, and her daughter orders the filet mignon well done.
These people don't deserve to eat steak. Let them eat fish.
So.
Or chicken tenders. They should have gotten chicken tenders.
The food arrives. My steak is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely was an extremely good steak for $62 or $100 actually in this case. So their food arrives.
Did they complain it was
and
dry?
And you'll have her cut into her steak to make sure it's cooked correctly. So she cuts into it. I didn't see it, but apparently there's some red left in it. It isn't completely dead yet.
Oh.
Oh, here, let me get the thing turned back off. So, there we go. So they, I'm not sure. Let me know when the thing goes away.
Okay.
So the waiter's like, oh, okay, that's not a problem. We'll just take it back and we'll stick it back on the grill for another minute and it'll be fine. But she's looking, she goes, it's too big. And it's like, well, it's too big. She points at her daughters, and she's like, "Can I have something that size? This is too big." And he's like, "Oh, yeah, we can do that, but that's going to take longer." And she's like, "Well, that's okay." So I take the food back, and come back later with her completely killed filet mignon instead, which she said. I heard them say that was a good piece of meat, so that's good. So. The moral of the story is, what I learned is, the reason why this restaurant is so expensive is that their level of service is so high that they're willing to throw away an entire $59 plate of food because their customer is too stupid to understand that she doesn't have to eat the entire steak that is served to her.
Well, I mean, that's the way that it is sometimes. So, sometimes you just deal with people like that. I mean, sometimes you just can't get around it. But
what's the old saying? You can't fix stupid. I mean, now there should be limits. I get that, but the problem here is that Disney is more worried about public opinion than profit. Sometimes, so it appears.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean,
Of course, their ticket prices would say otherwise, but that's besides the point.
Hey, as long as they can make a buck, they'll do whatever.
Well, yeah.
So. Yeah, I have not. Nothing. I mean, I was just going to say that there's a Guardians of the Galaxy holiday spectacular or whatever it is. I haven't watched it yet. That's on my list of things to watch still, but it does look like it looks semi-entertaining. I'll leave it at that.
It was.
I haven't watched it yet.
So it was.
But
mainly because of the guest star, and I'll leave it at that. In case you haven't seen the trailer for it yet, because he's in the trailer.
Yeah.
Or she.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of shows, Mike, you forwarded an article about the Orville and other 8 genre shows we are afraid will be canceled in 2023. Now, there's a question. I have several questions about some of these shows, and the idea that they will be canceled. People are afraid they will be canceled in 2023 because some of them, the fate has been known for a while.
Well, yes, and the fact that this was published 3 days ago and one of them, as you pointed out, was already decided. Yeah, it does kind of.
Now, okay, and actually, the one that I was going to mention, we knew about already. I'm being contradicted on my own information. So, the first one on the list, The Orville. Now, The Orville is one of my current favorite sci-fi shows. All right, I loved it. It's got the 3 seasons, but I was under the impression that Seth MacFarlane was essentially saying, "Okay, 3 seasons, I'm done." You know, I did my pet project. I liked doing it, but I got enough other irons in the fire. I'm not going to keep doing it anymore. I thought he almost said that to a point to someone when they asked him about another season of The Orville. But now, on this article that you sent, I'm seeing a Seth MacFarlane Twitter post that says, "We are currently awaiting season 4 news. Thanks to the fans for continued support."
So, him not wanting anything to do with it or wanting to move on from it doesn't mean that he wants the show to end. But that raises the question, how popular would the Orville be without its captain?
I don't see
How do you
it.
get rid of it?
I don't see it lasting without him because he is the draw. I mean, I agree. A lot of the other people are good, but Seth's the draw. He's the main guy around everything revolves. I don't believe there's ever been a Starship-based sci-fi show that successfully replaced the captain. What one? Colin?
But barely. It's only tactical.
Are you talking about Star Trek, the original series?
No.
Okay, which one?
I think that's technically because it's not. It's station.
Are you talking about Deep Space Nine?
Babylon 5.
Oh, Babylon 5? Yeah, I never really watched that show, so it's not in my...
So,
It's only the best science fiction show ever made. But
I don't know that is a true statement.
It's a true opinion.
Go ahead, Mike.
I was going to say maybe, but it's not space. Sequest.
But it tanked after they replaced him.
Yeah.
Would it last one season?
So hear me out. So here's my point. So now we have a different level here. Like we're playing 3-dimensional chess here, trying to figure out with the Orville, right? Because not only is it going into a 4th season where they may have to replace the captain, but this will only be the 2nd season that premiered on the same platform. First season was on Fox.
Yep.
Then they moved to Hulu.
Right.
Then they moved to Disney Plus.
Right.
So
where are they going now? HBO Max? I don't know. Where? Who knows?
They've been fighting an uphill battle here, right?
Well, the
if you
thought
get
was
rid of, now, okay. So here's my theory.
Mm-hmm.
If MacFarlane steps back, I'm not going to say steps away because I think in order for season 4 to happen, he's got to be in at least a handful of episodes. He's got to pass the torch.
Yeah, he's got to basically be promoted to admiral or something.
The only way that this show continues past the 4th season is if they get another big name actor to come in and replace. So this is the
The Rock would have to take over.
This is the Shelley Long, Kirstie Alley dilemma, right?
Yes. Yes, it is.
They replaced the character with another character who was equally likable, but they brought in somebody who had similar or better star power, right?
You're right.
So that's where I'm thinking they have to go.
And
who do they bring in? There's only one person that I think Seth MacFarlane could bring in that could make the Orville great again. No, that wasn't a Trump reference.
Okay.
I heard it in my head as I said it, and I was like, no, that's not where I'm going with this.
Are you transitioning? Are you
No.
segueing already? That's early.
No.
All right.
He has got to bring in Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris. No, Kevin Sorbo. He's already headed the Andromeda.
Actually, not terrible.
No,
It's
he's
not a
pretty
terrible idea, actually.
So
We
yeah.
all agree this should not be Scott Bakula.
But Scott Bakula was great in Enterprise. I don't know what you're talking about.
I know, that's why he'd be terrible.
All right, next show, 1899.
Never even heard of it.
Nah, me neither. Not anything I've ever heard.
No, it is one of the most popular shows. It's a spin-off of that other, the one of Kevin Costner.
Lone Star, Longhorn,
No, something like that.
No,
Yellowstone.
Yellowstone, that's it.
that's not. No, this is not the spinoff. This is a
No.
different show.
This is a different show.
Well, it has two different spin-offs, and they both have a date in them.
But Yellowstone is spinoff is not 1899. Because 1899 is like
Oh, okay. Never
it's a
mind.
different
I've
period.
never heard of this
It's a
thing.
different period piece.
Yeah. No, I got you. This is
Now here's another one.
some weird German mystery science fiction show.
Yeah. So here's another one. Wednesday. Now, Wednesday just came out, and from what I understood, they've already signed a season 2, so we know that it's getting renewed. Now, Mike, you had a good question. Should it have been renewed so quickly? Although, according to reports, it was the #1 streamed show, surpassing, I don't remember what it surpassed, but I think it surpassed the other Netflix big wig.
Wednesday actually, as of 3 days ago, has not officially been renewed.
Okay, because I thought that it was officially renewed.
There are reports that they're putting together the writer's room and a renewal is coming, but nothing has been announced yet that I can see.
Renewal appears inevitable. The writer's room is being formed. Okay.
But nothing official will be out until next year.
Okay.
So here's my question. Like, I don't want to take away from any of the actors because I like the cast.
Yeah.
I have not watched this, but so it may seem a little judgy of me to say should it get a renewal or not?
Yeah.
It was a record-breaking success. Okay. I guess for that, maybe it should get a second season, but I'm curious how many of these revivals we're going to see and how many seasons could this really go?
Sometimes
Eventually, Wednesday's got to grow up.
Sometimes you should break a record, drop the mic, and just walk off stage. That's what you should do. You shouldn't try and keep, going for the gold. It's, another one on here, Avenue 5. Now, Colin, I think you watched Avenue 5, right?
Yeah.
All right.
I kind of speed watched it.
So I am just getting into season 2, and I think I'm gonna probably lose interest after when season 2's done. So I don't know that I'll be up for a season 3, because how many times can you go back to the well with the same issues again and again?
I watched season 2, and that was like I binged it like kind of in the background while I was working instead of putting on Pandora or, some streaming station. So I'm with you. Some of the plot points, I actually was shocked that there even was a season 2 when it came out. And I remember saying after the first season, I wanted to love this show so bad because I am a huge Hugh Laurie fan. And I can't say I hated it.
Yeah, I can't say I love him in that role.
No,
I like some of the other actors more than I like him in there. But, yeah. Now there's some other shows on this list. La Brea. I don't know that show.
La Brea is actually on broadcast TV. It's on NBC. So I've seen the trailers I've seen the commercials for it. I was shocked that it didn't get canceled already. Again, to me, La Brea seems very similar to oh crap!
So many other
What was
shows.
the show?
Journey to the Center of the Earth.
No, well, yeah, but I'm thinking of a recent show that was on Fox that got canceled.
Terra Nova.
Terra Nova.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
Which
Andor
which
too.
I was upset that they canceled that one. I really wanted another season of that one.
Yeah.
I thought that they had some good, like Land of the Lost type stuff going on there. So I was looking for that one. Then The Peripheral, never heard about it.
Okay, let's talk. I'm going to talk about this one real quick because if you have not watched The Peripheral on Amazon, this is one worth watching.
Okay.
I thought it was. I'll put it this way: if you liked Inception, and there's a lot of parallels to Westworld with this as well. There's a slight parallel to Avatar as far as the technology.
Okay.
But if you like the kind of movies like Inception that kind of makes you think a little bit, or dare I say, Tenet, which I'm 17 times watching this movie and I still don't know what the frick I've seen. I don't know what the point is with Tenet. And I've watched it sober, drunk, stoned, every which way possible, one eye closed the entire time. I still don't know. But The Peripheral, this movie or this show is actually pretty freaking cool. And I would love to see a second season just because of the way the first season ended. I don't want this to go on forever, but I would love to see a second season to wrap it up.
We got done binging a few shows around here, and we came across Nailed It on Netflix, which I don't know if you've ever watched that, Mike, or not. But that is where they get some not so great bakers and challenge them to create masterpieces, and not even necessarily difficult masterpieces, but like, hey, make this panda cake, and suddenly you end up with like this blob, and they're really set up for failure because they're given an unrealistic time frame to do it, but their failures are spectacularly bad. I mean, it's ridiculously bad how poor some of them are, and so. I mean, they are just horrendous. Let me see here if I can pull one up real quick. So here is so this was the original cake, and this is what a baker made.
Nice.
The emoji cake. This was what they were supposed to make. This is what they ended up with.
How?
Yeah. And so this is a unicorn cake. The whale cake, or the shark cake. That was a good one too. Shark eating a diver, and then whatever this ended up being.
Okay.
And here we had, this is the grill one, which was great. They ended up just using a real spatula because they could not make one out of modeling chocolate. So that was a pretty good show. And so we've watched basically all of it. And now we've moved on to this other one, which is the Easy Bake Off. Which is it's hosted by Anthony from of Queer Eye fame, and
is he the one with the mustache?
No, Anthony does not have a mustache. Oh, I got to show you this one too. They did on Nailed It. They also did president cakes. So this was Trump.
Oh, that's Ross Perot.
No, that was their take on Trump.
I can't finish. I can't finish. if everyone in the world would if everyone in the United States would just give us $10, we could eliminate the national debt in just under 30 days. In a finish.
So, but yeah, so now we're watching the Easy Bake Off, and it's not too bad. Again,
See, I was hoping you were telling me it was like professional chefs that they have to create everything with an Easy Bake Oven.
well, that's what you're led to believe, but really what they have is they do have ovens that are meant to look like Easy Bake ovens, but they have a limited amount of time to use that oven. So they have two challenges. The first challenge is like, okay, you can only use a waffle iron and a toaster, or hey, you can only use your cooktop. You can't use anything else, or hey, you can't use some type of weird challenge. And then the second challenge is, okay, you have to just use the oven. And you only have 90 minutes to do everything, and your oven will only work for 60 of those minutes. So, I mean, it's, and you have to make a 3-course meal, So, and you'd have no control over temperature. It just runs at like 400 degrees, and that's it. So, and you can't look into it. It's interesting. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, this is the Anthony guy. So
Okay.
yeah, it's a fun little show. And you get each time. What's interesting about the show though is that it's a progressive show. So 3 contestants, whoever wins so out of the first round, you end up with 2 winners that move on to the second round of a single show. Whoever wins out of that moves on to the next show. But then they have to keep winning.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of like the 4.
I guess.
Okay. Or it's kind of like the Masked Singer, where you win, but you don't win until you don't playoff rounds kind of things. Okay.
They win $25,000 for each show that they win the final of.
Okay.
So it's kind of it's not a bad little show. So
I think we need to plan viewing parties for this other show that's going to be coming out.
Which one?
Called MILF Manor.
Originally I thought, what's he doing taking my shtick? When I saw you post this,
And then what? Then you saw what the possible twist is?
No, I didn't look past the headline, to tell you the truth.
Okay.
I thought, well, this will be something I need to Google.
So what TLC has finally decided would be smart to do is take a bunch of middle to upper aged.
Let's remember what TLC actually used to stand for. The Learning Channel, right? So we're going to get something educational out of this.
Yeah, now it's the Lunacy Channel, because apparently you got to be insane to. The cast are all hot moms, ranging from age 40 to age 60. Yes, here it is. Going to be in a mansion in Mexico with a bunch of younger men trying to find love. But then there's a shocking twist at the end of the teaser. Okay, wait, scroll back down. Scroll back to the purple shirt. One more. When I watched this trailer at first, I thought that was Brooke Burke. I'm like, what did she do to her face? So then all of the guys are behind a curtain. And they open a curtain at the end of the trailer, and then you see all the moms' faces like, oh, my God. So the rumor is that it's all the MILF's sons.
Yeah, I was wondering that exact same thing. I'm like, is it gonna be a stepson porn thing?
It's totally going to backfire on them. I've never been a reality TV show of this type fan. Like I'm not like 90 Day Fiance. I could care less. Dude's got no neck. Great.
Mm-hmm.
The Little People, Big World. I watched that initially because it was cool to see the challenges, but then it got too much drama, romance stuff. I didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more of a Deadliest Catch or Dirty Jobs, which new season came out 2 weeks ago, by the way. Never any of the trashy stuff like this. But this one, at least until I find out what the twist is, I gotta watch it.
You know it's Sons. It's Sons or Sons' friends. One of the two. You know. Jeez.
Gotta know.
Somebody at TLC was caught at work watching Pornhub by their boss, and their boss was like, "What you doing? You know, we're gonna fire you." He's, "No, boss. I was researching a new show. I got this great idea. We're gonna do MILF Manor. Yeah, that's it. That's what we're gonna do. Yeah, older women, younger men. Yeah. He was just trying to cover up his porn addiction. That's all it was. Getting caught at work. TLC has garnered a reputation for their unconventional dating and relationship shows, including 90 Day Fiancé, Sister Wives, and Hot and Heavy. Was Hot and Heavy like a Chubby Chaser show? Is that what it was?
Oh, God, possibly.
90 Day Fiancé has spawned numerous spin-offs as well as specials documenting the show's few successful relationships. Oh, really? There hasn't been a ton? I love the comments. Steve Rogers writes, "They don't look a lot different than the Real Housewives of Jersey. Lots of fillers and Botox and after younger men."
Accurate. And one of them actually is from Jersey.
Somebody else writes, "Can you just imagine the outrage if the genders were reversed?" That is true. It's a horrible double standard. If they made like, Wolf's Den,
older dudes with younger, yeah.
That would not be acceptable. Like
no,
like
I hate to say it. I didn't even think about it, but I also of the mindset. Jennifer
Aniston.
Connelly. No, Stifler's mom.
Yes, I know who you're talking about. She's been doing interviews lately, and because of promoting the White Lotus, and apparently when the movie American Pie came out, she was getting more barely legal peni than she could handle. Mm-hmm.
And in one interview, she said there was one guy, we had to call his mother to prove he was of legal age. So I got to believe somebody heard one of these interviews and said, we got to do this.
Mm-hmm.
We got to do this.
But to go back to your guess
mm-hmm.
of what this thing, I think the name of it tells you what it has to be. If they're not the Sons, then they would they'd be doing something Cougar Canyon or something. They'd be doing Cougar, not MILF. So the fact that they're using MILF instead of Cougar tells you it has to be their sons.
I would agree.
Somebody says they should change the name to STD City.
Horrible.
If dignity could be sold was another comment. Hideous women clearly cleaned out previous husbands with settlements and want younger guys. They look terrible. Hazel writes, "Good for them. Get it, ladies." Of course, a Hazel would write that. Somebody writes, "MILFs more like monsters." David writes, "You're so much bigger than your father."
Oh God.
Oh.
Wow. We went there. Okay.
No, David did. I didn't. I just read a comment.
I weep for the future.
It was
of
a great
America.
comment, but I just read it. Oh man. So all right. Also on here. Let's see here. Let's see here. We were talking about Twitter a little bit ago. Twitter's in an outrage over their new owner. So, Elon, the reign of Elon Musk over Twitter has not been without its ups and downs.
Did anyone think that this was going to go smooth? Like, did anybody really think that Elon was going to buy this and then go quietly into the night? Vanish without a fight?
I mean,
No.
He wanted, freedom of speech, but then he also so he wanted to unban a whole bunch of accounts, but then he wanted to proactively ban other accounts like the ones that follow his jet. So it is an interesting conundrum there, I think.
I think the problem is he was too vocal on the platform before he took over, and he is really ruling it like almost as a dictator. Now the question is, so he put up the poll and said, should I resign? And it was like 72% said yes.
Yeah.
Is he going to abide by it? And if he does, then does that open up things for any of the other polls, if you will?
Yeah. Twitter,
Yeah.
more than
Last I heard, he decided to change the rules of how polls work. But I've also heard that he might be looking for a new CEO to switch over to so that he's not having to deal with it himself.
And he probably should. I mean,
It's a stupid distraction.
he's got other stuff to worry about. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the whole $8 for the blue check, let's go back a little bit because I don't think we talked about that one. If we did, we touched on it briefly. But
yeah.
I'm also seeing now the gold check, which I have no idea what the hell that is, and nor do I care. I know I would never be able to get one. I'm not necessarily opposed to folks paying a one-time fee to be verified, if that would help Twitter. Now, a monthly fee to stay verified, is my information changing from month to month?
Am I changing who I am? No.
That doesn't make any sense to me. Because then it's essentially then they tried to sell it as, oh, well, you'll be featured higher in analytics and suggested searches and okay, so basically you're paying for preference. That's what it boils down to. So that failed.
Yeah.
That blew up in his face. He was very vocal about specific topics that are very polarizing, and like politics. And a lot of his actions seem to lean towards his political stance, which therein lies the problem. You want to make money off of your purchase. You want to reform what you thought was wrong with the platform. But you can't do that by doing exactly what angered you and inspired you to buy the platform in the first place.
And by the way, the difference between the gold check mark and the blue check mark is Gold check marks are supposed to be used for verified businesses as opposed to blue check marks, which are individuals.
Oh, okay. Interesting. That would explain why TMZ had a gold one. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought maybe it's because they bent over for Elon
So
willingly.
But according to some articles here, Twitter has lost approximately 50% of its advertisers since he took over. And that's directly proportional to the increase in hate speech, what people have classified as hate speech on the platform due to the loosening of content restrictions. So, there is a price to be paid when you do not, when you no longer moderate your platform, and it becomes a haven and a mouthpiece for views that companies don't want to represent their brand.
Yep.
And I agree with that. Now, I'm going to say with a grain of salt, you said it very eloquently that hate speech, or what people consider to be hate speech, somebody saying Alyssa Milano is an idiot, that's not hate speech.
No.
But to her, it is.
Yeah. Now, somebody saying, Alyssa Milano should die, or, hey, here's the address to her house, we should stand outside with guns. That's, a better example of what could be termed as intimidative hate speech, those types of things. And I think that's what is mostly being categorized as the increase in that type of language on Twitter since the takeover.
Yeah, so I do agree with him that I don't think locations or addresses should be given out. I don't think they ever should have. The location of the jet, I don't feel like that's specific enough to really be a threat. It says that you landed at this airport, but you could be going anywhere.
And it's not like
that was more. So that was done for all the celebrities to track how much pollution their private jets were actually causing while they were still going around saying we have to save the planet. Okay, Alyssa Milano, and I'm picking on her because she was the most vocal. If Elon Musk buys Twitter, I'm gone. And then all of a sudden he bought Twitter and started doing stuff. She's like, I can't go because that would be giving up the fight.
Right. The jet thing I kind of see differently because it's not like he hacked that information and is releasing it, right?
Correct.
Now, granted, it's public information made more public and more easily found, but it's not like it was secret information to begin with.
Okay, so that's along the lines of me being able to go online. If my neighbor started complaining to me about something and I went online and I quoted them how much they pay in property taxes, that's public information. Yeah. I put that out there on Facebook. Yeah, it's exaggerating a little bit, but it's public information. Mm-hmm. If it's something that somebody can find by typing in one simple Google query, as long as you know what that query is, you're not really. I don't take issue with it. It's the fact that he's putting that, a bot, no less. A bot was putting that information on Elon's platform about where Elon's plane was going. So the very thing that Elon Musk wanted to disclose, how many accounts are bots? This seems like a vendetta. This seems like Elon's got a grudge. He don't like bots. He don't like artificial intelligence. Yet he wants everyone to put a computer chip in their head. Yes. He wants a 56 baud modem directly implanted into all of his followers for $4 a month so that he can read your thoughts.
Yeah. those
Everybody
in
used to think
power-
that Elon Musk was going to save the world with Tesla and the Tesla wall and the solar panels and Starlink and SpaceX, and all of a sudden he bought Twitter, and the guy is the evil version of Tony Stark,
those in power
whatever that
want,
may be.
Those in power want more power. Is kind of it is. I mean, we always thought Elon was one volcano layer away from being a supervillain. We kind of saw the writing on the wall already. So, and who's to say he doesn't have a volcano lair? I think he probably does.
There have been enough eruptions lately that coincided with the timing of the Twitter takeover. So it's possible. I mean, all I'm going to say is if he shaves his head, I'm going to start digging in my backyard and building a bunker, because that's the only logical solution at this point. If he shaves his head bald, then I give up.
Yep. So, I mean, he actually put out a tweet one time that said, "If this works, I'm treating myself to a volcano lair. It's time." He has done it. He has said it. So
it's very, very simple. He is the new Howard Hughes.
Yep, that's potential. That's not a bad example. But, well, I question, though, was Howard Hughes hated as much? Or are we just talking about
he
it?
was he was known as a grandstander, but by the end he was well known to be crazy. So
okay, so crazy but not hated. Dr. Evil.
Saw that, thought I needed to throw that out there for a second. So anyway, yeah, I mean, but speaking of criminal masterminds and to the death, there was an experiment that happened, mostly by accident, that says maybe death isn't as permanent as we think. And so, it could be a good thing for us, especially for Mike and I. Something that we'll talk about in a little bit here that might happen on the next show. But scientists have partially restored function of previously identified dead cells, I believe. Not in humans, but in lab animals, and so it's conceivable that we may need to redefine the definition of dead again. And it wasn't that long ago that we redefined it already once, because previously dead meant the heart was no longer beating, but now thanks to ventilators and ECMO machines, we can make the heart beat indefinitely. But so now we've refined it to brain dead, which some people will say most of our audience is. I say they don't know what they're talking about. So now we are looking to possibly redefine it again, if we can, get the idea of bringing the brain back out of dead. Mike,
does it involve zombies?
Well, see, that's what I'm worried about, is that, once we start to bring people back, what else are we bringing back with them? Is it a Pet Cemetery moment? Is it a Dr. Frankenstein moment? What are we going to be bringing back with us? You just don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it's just stepping into and away from the light. I think there's got to be some kind of changes that happen on a physical level.
Yeah.
And it concerns me. The simple comparison in my mind would be it's going to be similar to like the damage done to a football player's brain. That there's going to be long-term effects that will not be seen for years to come. That being said, if they do figure out how to bring people back from the dead, then Bob Iger is going to have to watch out, because that means Walt Disney is going to be the first one back.
Yeah. Well, either that or Tupac.
Tupac never died. Elvis, maybe.
No, he just went home. We know that from Men in Black.
Mm.
So, Mike, you and I discussed a potentially lethal, thing for the next show.
Yeah.
Which is going to be very entertaining, I think.
Oh God, it's not going to be entertaining. So,
well, it's not entertaining for us.
My wife hates me.
Yeah.
My wife hates me, and Five Below, the store Five Below, you can go bite it, because right by the registers, they had these damn things, and I'm looking at them, and I go, oh, and she goes, get it. I'm like, and like the cashiers are standing there, because this Five Below was all self-checkout. The cashiers are all standing there, and they're all laughing and stuff. Now, I can't back down from this now, so this thing's going in the cart.
Yeah.
So if y'all need them, tell me, and I'll go get them and ship it out to you, because they had.
I got one.
They still had some.
I got one on the way already.
Okay. We're gonna die.
My wife says you're stupid. She goes, "Why would you do that?"
Kim wants to do a cross promotion with this one. Like, she wants to live stream it on Butterstown while I'm doing it. I said, we can make that. We can we can make that happen. You can set up. I'll set up your cell phone, or I'll set up my cell phone, and we'll live stream it, and you can talk and do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
I said, this is going to be like, they had warning signs up. Before you buy it, big old warning on the back that you got to read. I'm not going to go through.
And for those that aren't watching the video, we're talking
and
about
they expire.
We're talking about the Pocky One Chip Challenge 2022 edition.
Oh, so and my substitute for tonight, thanks to Dollar Tree, is
Carolina Reaper Extra Hot Cheetos Puff Edition.
And they do have a little bit of heat. They got more heat than the ones I had last time in the Pocky. But so I mentioned Dirty Jobs earlier. Last night, or the most recent episode, there was last night, he worked at a clinic that spayed and neutered feral cats in Texas. And then the second half of the show was the guy who invented or came up with the Carolina Reaper, as well as Pepper X, which is the new hottest.
Oh, boy.
So they went through the whole mash, and the dude sells Carolina Reaper seeds, sell 7 for $10.
Oh.
Seeds.
Well, I mean, I guess one seed begets more seeds. So,
Now, I gotta find this here. Because if I find Pucker Butt, that's it. I'm going to send you a link, because they had this at the very end. Let's see. Is it apparel? No. Chocolate and snacks. They did this thing called the Duel.
Okay.
I'm sending you a link right now. Unfortunately, it is sold out. Kim said, should have gotten this. Or maybe it's not sold out. I don't know.
It's not sold. I don't think it's sold out. But I don't think this is a good idea. I think
Well,
Kim
not
hates
good
us.
idea for. Not a good idea for.
From the creators of the
So-
One Chip Challenge and the world's hottest pepper, it's the face-off that will melt your face off. The duel featuring Pepper X is the world's newest hottest pepper. 2 ferocious chips, 1 brave winner. Challenge your friend or foe and see if you have what it takes. Includes 2 Pepper X chips, dueling instructions, and the coveted victor's coin. Ugh. That is... I don't know that is a good idea.
So, Mike's new producer did this with the guy that owns the company.
Oh,
And the producer, like, nearly passed out.
I bet. Well, I don't know. Yeah. That's got to be really, 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 really bad.
So, the guy, Ed, whatever is... Let me see if I give his name here, because... Ed Curry is his name. He originally started standardizing capsaicin just as for its medicinal purposes, and that's where he became obsessed with creating more capsaicin, more Scoville, etc. This guy, he was trying to tell Mike that spice and heat from peppers, from capsaicin, is all in your head. It's your brain telling you that
Something's hot.
it's hot, not actual heat. So it's mind over matter.
Yeah.
And to that I say poo-poo.
Yeah. So, Pepper X. Mike, do you have any idea how many Scoville units Pepper X is?
I'm going to say 3 million.
3,180,000.
That is a million more than the Carolina Reaper.
That is a lot. That is a very lot.
Yeah.
And it is classified as very hot, exceptionally hot.
So the one chip here, by the way, as I said, there's a Best Buy date on this chip.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So apparently you have to eat this by 2023.
Yeah. I have been
this
told
one-
that the more stale it is, the slightly cooler it is.
Sure.
I would like a super stale version, please.
Okay, so let's stop and think about this, all right? Have any of y'all ever had, like, wings the day after?
No. Because I don't actually like
Yes.
hot things. So I usually have sweet wings.
Colin, so you said yes.
Yeah.
Is it just me, or is it usually spicier the next day?
It depends on what kind of wings you make. Hey, our wings, I don't know if it tastes spicier, but it is tastier.
Okay, right. There have been times where I've gotten spicy food, and the next day it's spicier than. So I'm going to disagree with that. I think the longer you wait. Now, of course, these are in sealed pouches,
Right.
right? So the fact that it expires almost a year from now, or Best Buy almost a year from now, means that that spice does not start decaying. It doesn't until that point. And even then, yeah. See, look, you're sweating already thinking about this.
No, I was thinking of my grandson. I told my grandson I was going to do this, and he goes, "Oh, have you seen the video?" And I'm like, "I don't know, which video are you talking about?" And he goes, "Oh, of the guy who did one chip vodka." And I'm like, "No, but that does not sound good." And
one
he said-
chip vodka.
And he did, and he goes, well, he took the one chip and he put it in vodka for like 3 days. And I left the one chip challenge in vodka for a week. And it was not a good time because alcohol actually intensifies the flavor.
Okay.
The capsaicin. Capsaicin is alcohol soluble. So
okay, and I see the dude. I'm not surprised.
and so it leached everything off of the chip into the vodka. So not only did he then eat, the chip, but then he took a shot of the vodka too.
That,
Yeah.
like I'm already trying to plan what I'm going to have on my desk when we do this.
I am going to prepare the same way I did last time. There's going to be ice water. There's going to be chocolate milk. There's going to be ice cream. There's going to be different levels of dealing with it.
Yeah.
Well, one of those just makes it worse. So.
Which one?
Well, the
Ice water.
Okay.
Well, you
All
can
right,
use
yeah,
it
you're
after the fact, but you can use it after the others, after the neutralizers.
Oh no, I fear.
No, that's rinsing the neutralizer off.
But yes. So
she literally, so she scans it, or right before she scans it and puts it in the bag, she looks at me, she goes, your life insurance is paid up, right? Really? Yeah, so you can just stay right over there for now.
No, I am
Stare
not
at
joining
me.
in because I have multiple head-related medical issues going at the moment. None of them need help.
yeah. No one that has done this has said that it is a good idea. I'm looking through. I'm looking through comments, and they're all saying this is a horrible idea, and it only gets worse the later it gets. So, yeah, Mike. Thank Mrs. 8-Man. Tell her next time
You
we
don't
want to
have
do
to
like
do
the
it.
chocolate challenge. No. I do.
No,
Nope, I do.
To be clear for the listeners, I was all prepared to do it solo this week.
Yep. He was. He absolutely was. But nope. I won't let you do that.
Okay, and now here's a guy on YouTube 1 month ago says the one chip challenge is a lie. It's not spicy.
He probably had COVID.
Oh.
No, I have no idea if COVID, when it, affects taste, is it affecting spicy or not. In fact, that's what I was just looking for to see if there was anything on that.
Oh, God. Are you getting, so the website basically says, so the one chip challenge says, wait as long as possible after chip consumption before eating and drinking anything else. If you can last a full hour, you are invincible.
Not happening.
People who eat or drink a minute after eating the chip are dismissed as being powerless. So we're going, it's going to simply be a first one, winner take all.
Okay.
So, Yeah, this is going to be.
See who can last the longest. After eating the chip, I'm.
Yeah, I'm starting to concern myself a little bit here. We may have to renege on this one, Shag, because I'm like reading through some of these cases and like I really do not want to go to the hospital over this. Mama Blair trying to be the sense of reason here.
Why is it listed on poison.org? Why is it listed on the poison control website? That's why, if it's this bad, why are they allowed to sell it?
So, I'm just gonna.
That's a terrible idea. When do we start? Yeah.
And.
Bad decisions make good story. Yes, they absolutely do.
So. Maybe we'll compromise. Like, we're not going to eat the whole chip.
Yeah, I like the compromise. We can do half or something. We're not young kids anymore.
We are not. And
No.
we got to work the next day.
Yeah. We got stuff to do, and it doesn't involve just being in the bathroom all day.
I mean, I can work from my laptop from the toilet if I have to.
Yeah.
Really don't want to.
I just can't believe that it is actually listed on poison control website.
Well, we'll discuss. We're gonna attempt it one way or another. Might be a modified version.
Yeah.
But we're going to attempt it. And it's that time. Let's get to the movie reviews because
yes, we need to talk about the movie reviews because we had some interesting movies. So this evening we had one Christmas film and one not so Christmas film. So which one do we want to talk about first? Do we want to end on Christmas?
Well, yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
So then that means that we are going to start off talking about what was the name of that stupid movie?
Army of
One. Yes. For some reason I kept thinking
Yes.
Army of Darkness. No. Army of One. So just so that everyone, just to be aware, I watched both of these with my wife. So it was, and I'll tell you when I go what she thought of both of them. So, but Colin, we'll start off with you on Army of One.
Okay, Army of One, or She Rambo. So, there's an opening segment of this movie where some cops are attacking these other guys. I'm trying to remember, like clowns? I don't know. One guy gets killed, and another guy is almost attacked, and he wakes up. So that tells you that this guy is a cop. I think. I never figured out what that entire opening segment was supposed to be about, because I mean, in the end, this guy dies later anyway. So what was that? I don't. But he's, as you do, out in the middle of nowhere with his wife, trying to get away from stuff, and they meet the hillbillies. and the mob Barker type. I mean, it's all out of central casting. I don't know. So they run into this cabin in the middle of nowhere, and as you do, you break in somebody else's place and look around and go, oh, there's a secret thing in here, and discovered a bunch of guns, and then, they get killed. Which is what would happen in real life if you were this stupid. So, it turns out, yes, the guy is killed, but the woman, the one who got him killed, she's still alive. And it turns out that she's actually a Army Ranger. And so she is the army of one who then goes and kills everybody. Now, here's a problem I have with this, okay? She's an Army Ranger. She manages to get a phone at some point, okay? Now, one thing I know about Army Rangers is they're not armies of one. This isn't James. This is not that she's Jane Bond, right? She's an Army Ranger. That means that she has a squad. She has people. And as soon as she has a phone, she's going to be calling her people. And it's not going to be an army of one killing these hillbillies. That's going to be the army killing these hillbillies. That's what should have happened. But no, she just continues to be stupid. But because they're stupider, yeah, she kills them all. Oh, and then there's a sheriff who's like randomly... Anyway, yeah, just imagine, it's a Rambo type movie of single person going around and killing people with whatever weapon she gets her hands on. But here's the thing. I don't know, I'm actually saying too much here, but one saying that I always read in all of these kinds of stories is that the mantra is that you use a knife to get the handgun, and you use the handgun to get the long gun. And then, you keep trading up to a bigger gun, right? That's what each weapon is for. She consistently makes herself a better weapon and then throws it away and then goes off with no weapon again. She spends the entire movie doing this. And we know there's better guns around. She should be going for the gun. She is an Army Ranger. That means she shoots people. A lot. That being said, it was semi-fun. I'm going to go ahead and give it a smirk. At least nobody was that terrible at acting. It kept me entertained. So, yeah, smirk.
Oops, wrong one. Sorry. All right. I'll go next, and then Mike, I'll let you you clean up after that. So this movie is there are some things that could have been taken away, as Colin mentioned, like the first 5 or so minutes in the movie where we're seeing how the boyfriend got injured, which means why he's slowed down. Really don't need that much of the movie pertaining to it. This movie is kind of like if Deliverance and The Crow had a baby. That's what this would be. It is totally a vengeance movie, and there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. Vengeance movies are cool. But yeah, there's a few plot holes here and there. There's a few things I wasn't really happy about. There's a lot of things that my wife was confused about. Like who was calling who on the phone at the end of the movie, and the fact that Junior is still alive at the end of the movie. So, it's just, there are things that I think could have been dealt with better. I think they tried to wrap it rather quickly at the end, and I think that they could have done a better job with that. But otherwise, I think it moved along pretty well. I thought that overall it was a good film that had decent momentum, had pretty good action. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give it a smile. It's entertaining. It's fun to watch. It's, there's plenty of good action on it. And it looked like the actors actually knew what they were doing in the fight sequences. It didn't look hokey that way. So, I'll give it a smile. All right, Mike.
All right. So my first comment about this movie is going to be that the Mohawked fool has a bad boy tat. You have no idea how many times growing up near the Jersey Shore that I saw that as a vinyl sticker in neon pink on the back window of somebody's car, or on some nylon pullover anorak thing that got pressed at the boardwalk. That the only thing that was more common than this bad boy club thing was Calvin peeing on something. That may have been on his other arm. Somebody want to tell me how the hell Butch and his gang did not know that Brenner was not dead? Listen, they shot her. They left her there. Even rednecks know how to check for a pulse before they... Peeling a cucumber with a serrated knife. This is the kind of stuff that's bothering me about this movie, people. She's peeling a cucumber with a serrated knife. This is where one of the culinary people who know more than I do about kitchens are going to chime in and tell me there's a reason to peel a cucumber with a serrated knife.
Well, no, because you just buy an English cucumber and then you don't have to peel it at all.
Whatever. I'm still going to be asking why. Brenner ain't messing around, okay? She blew up a moonshine still. Listen, the entire clan felt that in their bones. Like they were around the campfire like, y'all want to go down? Our shine still got blown up by that chick. That you don't mess with a redneck still, ever. Is the sheriff in Mama's pocket too, or is that too cliche? I mean, they usually past halfway, and I start getting vibes, the same vibes I was getting from Boone the Bounty Hunter, which was a movie we reviewed in July of 2018. All you mouth breathers look the same. If I had a nickel for every time that I called someone a mouth breather in my life, I would be able to buy Twitter. Because that was a key insult of mine back in high school and very common among the hockey community. Instead of saying somebody sucks, you call them a mouth breather. And then I just added this one because I thought it was She Rambo. I like that. So She Rambo, Shambo, or Rochambeau. Yes, because after watching this movie, you're going to feel like you got kicked in the nuts. I gave Boone, the bounty hunter, a chuckle, mainly because John Morrison put his personal savings on the line to make the movie, right? This movie barely kept my attention. I don't think I can go. I'm going meh. I mean, the acting was okay. The fight scenes were good, but the storyline, a lot of the things, like you could sit there and you could make a drinking game picking this thing apart.
All right. The next one is our Christmas pick. So during December, we do try to pick a Christmas-themed show. So this time around, we couldn't help it. We had to pick A Christmas Story Christmas. So, Colin, you are up first. Let us know what you think of A Christmas Story Christmas.
Okay. There are two things that I can say that I believe to be true. The first is, if they were to ask Peter Billingsley to re-record all the narration for the original Christmas Story, and they played it over there, you could watch it and it would still work. He is that good at replacing Gene Shepard of being the narrator. The second thing I believe is if they ever asked him to do it, he might kill them. Because it's clear that he cares so much about these movies. And I think that a lot of how this movie is so good is because he pushed so hard to make it that way. There's a scene at the beginning of this movie where Ralphie gets a call from his mother and is told that his old man has died. How he plays that scene. I have been Ralphie on that phone and reacting and sounding exactly like that. Now, admittedly, that's not because my father's died. He's still alive, but it's been dogs who've died. Yes. And that is, I don't remember that kind of scene showing up in a lot of movies. I was just so impressed by that. It felt so genuine, so real, and anyway, I just gotta say, just from a purely acting, writing standpoint, that it was just so good. The rest of the movie, it's Christmas Story music, Christmas. It has everything that you expect from watching the original Christmas Story, but there's lots of things they could have done which could have ruined this movie. Like, they could have had the Christmas dinner be ruined again by the Bumpus dogs coming through and eating yet another turkey, making them go to a Chinese restaurant again. They could have done that, and that would have completely ruined the movie. They didn't go there. I think they found almost all the actors they could. It's obviously that they went and figured out, okay, you guys haven't acted since you were kids, so they wrote parts that matched what those people actually were, and they all filled in their parts perfectly. And from start to finish, I love this movie so much. And if you haven't seen it, I'm not going to spoil it for you, so go watch it. As far as my rating for this movie goes, look, this is not a Schneikes movie. This movie is beyond level of Schneikes. This is not a movie I thought was going to be terrible and I ended up loving it. This is just one of the quintessential Christmas movies. So I'm not sure what to call that. I'm just going to call it transcendental and leave it at that.
All right. I'll go next. So much like Colin, there were a lot of parts in this movie where it seemed very authentic. All right. The actors did a great job in portraying their parts. And, whether it was a funny part or an emotional part or whatever, I think they did a good job in playing it. We watch a lot of these movies and we go, oh, the acting's horrible, or they overacted, they underacted, the script writing was bad or whatever. A while ago we watched 8-Bit Christmas last year. And at the time I said, oh, well, this is a reimagination or a modernization of A Christmas Story. And, it compared to this, it's a poor imitation. All right, even though it's got Neil Patrick Harris in it, and it was funny, and it's a different time. This, as much as I don't like the Christmas Story movie, I liked this sequel. All right, because it gave reverence to the original movie while not depending on it. All right, it was respectful to the original source material. And it definitely, obeyed all that stuff, and it kept the characters true, and did what you would expect it to do. But it didn't necessarily always rely on it, which was great. As Colin said, they could have ruined the turkey. They could have gone to the Chinese restaurant. They could have done a lot of things. Somebody could have gotten stuck to a flagpole again, which you kind of thought was going to happen at one point, but they didn't. They did it. They took it a different direction. So there were things that made this different, than the original, which was good, but still having some of the original, concepts, dealing with the bullies, etc. So I liked it. I really did enjoy this one, and it kept my attention. They couldn't get some of the original cast, which is fine. And they did substitutions where they absolutely needed to. And I think those actors played the parts very well. The mother had to be swapped out. But I think they did really well here. And so I think that this, belongs in the right alongside. In fact, I would be happy if TNT or whoever in the heck it is, TBS, if they ran these two one after another for the 24-hour period, at least to break it up so that it's not just the one for 24 hours. All right, give me 2 movies for 24 hours rather than just the one. Or heck, throw 8-Bit Christmas in there. What the hell? Give me 3 movies for 24 hours. That means I only got to watch each one like 7 times. But give me this and, break it up a little bit because I think this did a good job. So I will give this a Schneikes because I thought that it was a true good homage to the original while not ruining it. So, by Mike's face, I think we're in a cobbler situation. All right, Mike, it's now your turn.
I didn't actually take notes for this one because for the first time in the history of the PTR double feature movie review, Mrs. 8-Man joined me in watching it, and we just watched it. I think the best way that I can put this is I don't feel as strongly as you guys. Do I think the movie was a worthy sequel? I do. Do I think it told the story perfectly? I do. There were some parts where I could have done without or I thought were a little unreasonable. The one in particular was the ski jump thing, the return of the triple dog dare, if you will. I'm sorry, he'd be dead. This isn't sticking his tongue to a frozen flagpole. He'd be dead. Let's just be completely clear about this, okay? What would he be? Dead. Die, Dodie, Denver. All dead. Dead. And some idiot kid is going to watch this and go down, see a ramp similar to that, and guess what the kid's going to be?
Amused?
Sure, dead. So, I will agree with Colin that, when you first watch it, if you're a fan of the original, you know that the actor who played the old man passed away. So when you first watch it, they don't allude to the fact that he's gone. So when Ralphie gets that phone call and the way he acts, I agree. He played that scene very well. I do agree that Peter Billingsley cares a great deal about the legacy of this project. I also think he wanted to make up for the abomination that is out there known as A Christmas Story 2. That we will never speak of again. I really appreciate the fact that they brought all of the original actors back, like Shaggy said, with the exception of the only 2 I'm aware of. The old man wasn't back because he passed, and they replaced the mom because she passed.
Because he was what, Mike?
Dead.
And she's not dead. She's just like 83 and extremely retired.
Really? I thought she was dead.
No, she didn't go down any snow hill. Snow ramp. She's okay.
But she's been out of the public eye now for like 20 years. So
yeah,
they didn't replace anybody else, did they? No.
I think, wasn't even like the elf still the same guy?
Yeah. Santa may have been different. But I think one of the elves at least was the same guy.
Yeah.
So for the most part, I agree with you guys as far as how this movie related to the original, but I don't think it's got that rewatchability factor that the other, like, I don't see this honestly as a Christmas classic. I see it as a fitting sequel to a Christmas classic, which I'm still not sure that this needed to be made. But if you were going to make it, at least they did it right. So I gave this, I gave it a SEG, which is just above a smile, right? I didn't give it a Schneikes because I'm kind of leaning towards using Colin's definition of Schneikes, that I go in thinking it's going to be terrible and I wound up loving it and would recommend it. To me, that's a Schneikes.
Yeah.
I do not know. I had to look up how to spell transcendental. So I'll give you that. Okay. The previous highest
There's some
ever
other thing
was,
you had before. I just can't remember what it was, so I won't with the transcendental. But there was some other thing you had.
Oh,
if you can find it in the list.
OMG WTF BBQ. Was that higher
exactly.
than Schneikes? Okay. All right.
I consider it up there with Schneikes, but a different definition.
Okay. Fair enough. Your previous high, which Colin is always breaking the ceiling here, was Schneikes McSchnikerson, which you gave to Noises Off.
Now, I will say, watching this movie got me a point in trivia the other day. Because otherwise I would not have known the question of what is the name of Ralphie's dad in A Christmas Story.
Oh, that's true, because they only ever refer to him as the old man.
Correct. And so everybody else was like, John? What? Sam? I'm like, well, they only ever call him the old man. And they're like, that's correct. I'm like, yes, I won. So.
Okay. Thrown from an upside-down car hood, pulled by a tractor, cutting cookies. What does that mean? It's possible to survive stupidity. No, he went straight up and landed flat on his back on packed snow, and then got up to go to the bar.
Well,
so either he is a ridiculous alcoholic, or he should be dead.
Well, did you see his tab? He's a ridiculous alcoholic.
Dead.
No, pickled. You always see the alcoholic walking away from the car crash because they're very wobbly. They're very wobbly. All right.
All right. I don't know when the next show is, but
the elf just looks like the guy from the first one.
Okay. All right, so the next show is supposed to be on the 2nd.
I don't think that's going to happen. We'll figure out when the next show is going to be.
Okay, we'll figure out the next show, but let's figure out the next movies first.
1 to 41.
18.
Let's see if it's still available. It is. So this is on Netflix. Somehow I think I've seen this before. Called Walk of Shame.
Oh, is
with
this
Elizabeth Banks? It's a post one night stand type movie.
Okay, I haven't. I've seen. I have not seen it. All right, and 34.
What in the hell? On Amazon Prime, Hashtag lucky number. What in the hell is this? The description says TBD. This is not a good sign at all. Based on a true story, sort of.
Hashtag lucky number is, boy, it doesn't have a description. Is it does it look like a basketball movie to you? Is that what it is?
It must be.
No, it's a, well, it, yeah, I guess so. Because
Brendan,
Method Man
Gabriel,
is playing.
Tom,
Yep.
Tom Pelfrey, Natalie Hall, and Malcolm Goodwin.
Yeah.
I have no idea what this movie is because there is literally no. Okay, hold on. If I click details, there is no description of this movie on Amazon Prime. There's nothing that describes this movie on Amazon Prime.
Okay, a young man's life is on a losing streak until he gets the old cell number of a major basketball star nicknamed the Saint. As stars using it to get VIP access to A-list parties. He's living the good life until his idol finds out.
Okay. It's got 4 out of 5 stars on Amazon, which is pretty good for a movie that you have no idea what it is. So people just
it only
happen to
has
come across.
54 ratings on Amazon. 54 ratings.
I know,
this
but
came
those
out in 2015.
Yeah, but those are 54 people who said, you know what, I'll watch something that I don't know what it is.
7 people a year watch this.
You know, it's just...
Okay. Well, it was a good run, boys.
Yeah. You know, we'll have to see what's going on. Okie dokie. So we are going to have to let everyone know what the next show night is going to be, because who knows whether it's going to be, when it's going to be, how close to New Year's Eve. But we'll let you know, so don't forget to follow us on social media at PTR Radio on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, all the fun stuff. And, you know, that's how you'll find out. But for right now, just know that we're going to be watching hashtag Lucky Number Weird Show and, you know, Walk of Shame during the next show. So if you want to, you can watch those movies and let us know what you think along. But until then, everybody just have a safe and happy holiday. You know, Christmas, whatever you celebrate, along with New Year's. We want everyone to be safe and happy. Remember, if you enjoy too much, make sure that you have yourself a designated driver, or just call an Uber or Lyft or cab or whatever, or just sleep where you fall down. Any of those are perfectly acceptable. But don't do anything dangerous to yourself or anyone else. Just enjoy the presents and make sure that you, you know, leave Santa some milk and cookies. So,
Or vodka.
yes.
Depending on your neck of the woods.
Roast beef and vodka work perfectly well, too. So, all right, folks, that's going to be it for PTR Radio for this year. We will catch you all next year. I'm Shaggy.
I'm Colin.
I am Mike the 8 Man.
Stick a fork in us, folks. We are done. Later.
You're hit with a gun hand grip. I hope it serves as a strong reminder. You can't even help yourself with the revenge of the moment.